Well, I've come to talk to Professor Jim Verdi, who's the team leader on the CMS project, and it's because he is going to be my guest at an event at Wellcome Collection in London. Wellcome Collection is part of the Wellcome Trust. It's a very major charity which funds scientific research, and on their behalf I'm doing a series of events about what's happening at the very cutting edge of science at the moment and how that's going to impact society and the future. And Professor Verdi is one of my 5 guests in this series. So I came to meet him to have a look at CERN, to see what's going on here and what excitements are in store coming out of CERN in the near future. There are going to be so many spin-offs from the work that's been done here. This magnificent international effort putting together this experiment has advanced technology on a number of different fronts. There will be lots of knock-on effects for other areas of science, including medical science. There will also be a great deal of inspiration for people, youngsters, for example, at school, who are thinking about what to do with all the advances that we expect to come out of CERN's work. What I've learned today is that some of the technological developments, some of the advantages to computing science and engineering, some of the possible advantages for medical science are really already of such significance that they have paid back the investment that has gone into the building of CERN many times over. I mean, the knock-on benefits to the whole of science and medicine and to society at large and to the education of people in science has already made this a justified enterprise. Partly because it is the greatest adventure that science has ever had, partly because it is the greatest example of international cooperation to crack the secrets of nature, partly because as a result of all the developments in the last century, both in theory and in experimental capability, it has brought us to the very brink of knowing some things that are quite transforming of our view about the world. I mean, this really is a great moment in human history, and it's happening here in CERN. Well, one thing, of course, that philosophers are interested in is ideas, and ideas are the cogs of history. Ideas are what shape our world for us, our view of the world and the way we relate to it and to one another. And in the last 4 or 5 centuries, scientific ideas in particular have been at the very cutting edge of how we've come to understand ourselves and transformed our world. The ideas that are being explored and discussed and used in these great scientific endeavours like CERN, which is the greatest of them, should become common property. Everybody should take part in the conversation about them, be part of the audience of them, be prepared to learn something from. And this is a philosophical point. This is about knowing our world and knowing ourselves. This is an important philosophical point about ourselves as intelligent individuals who should be party, even just as witnesses, to this enormous adventure represented here. Also, of course, as a sort of technical philosopher rather than as one who also tries to take part in public discussion about these matters, I think that the nature of knowledge and our understanding of the nature of reality really comes together here. Reality and the nature of our knowledge of reality, yes, the sorts of concepts that we use, the way we investigate reality, the techniques and the methods that really do tell us something ultimate about the world. Science is a long-term endeavour. It's an expensive endeavour, it's a long-term endeavour, but it pays for itself over and over and over and over again. As I said earlier, we've already seen some applications, some spin-offs of the technologies that have been developed in order to build this experiment, which are paying off in industry and technology and medicine outside CERN. It's already paid for itself in those advances, and it's going to pay for itself many, many more times over. No question about it at all. It's also going to pay off as an example of a concentrated international endeavour where, the Chinese and the Taiwanese and the Turks and the Greeks and lots of people who have differences of opinion with one another in other spheres and nevertheless work side by side here, because this is the investigation of nature and because science is about something objective, about something real, and it transcends all the squabbles and quarrels that humanity gets itself into unnecessarily. I want people to see that this is something that the world community can be proud of itself about. This is humanity at its best, doing something really worthwhile, doing something tremendous. And what I'm going to hope will come out of this is that people all around the world will see that this is something they should be paying attention to, celebrating and applauding and cheering on.